Well, I think it's very significant, in particular in the context of recognizing legal personality to the government of Gibraltar, the right to sue and be sued in the context of the Spanish courts, even though politically there is no recognition in Spain of the existence of the government of Gibraltar, or indeed of the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. But that must not affect the right of the government of Gibraltar as an unincorporated association, as we would be known in international law, in British law, to be able to take action where it has a right to do so in the context even of the laws of Spain. So I think it's an important step forward, and it's one that cannot be underestimated.
Well, the government has taken on the AVC and in this particular case has won. So do you think it will dissuade them from future unfair coverage on Gibraltar?
It's not uncommon for the government of Gibraltar to have to take on newspapers like ABC, which is, as we all know, a representation of the right-wing point of view in the context of Spanish journalism. But this particular article, which was extraordinarily defamatory of Gibraltar, which was based on sloppy journalism, had to be put right, and therefore we took the step of first going to the editorial board of ABC and asking them to rectify. Then they have an internal appeals procedure, which we followed. They again refused to rectify. We went to the Spanish Supreme Court that found against us, and therefore we appealed all the way to the final court of appeal in Spain, and there we have prevailed. If we hadn't prevailed there, we would have continued to the Court of Human Rights in Strasbourg. But it's important that very sloppy journalism of the sort that we see in Spain has to be stood up to when the reputation of Gibraltar and all its good citizens is somehow affected by their desire to print something lazily without even seeking comment from the government of Gibraltar and based just on the worst sort of rumorology about Gibraltar.
Do you think this type of action and the government's general PR work in Spain is actually having an impact, resulting in more fair, balanced coverage of Gibraltar issues?
After the Partido Popular win in 2011, and they take the very negative, almost medieval attitude that they took under Señor Margallo to Gibraltar, we have a skewering of the way that newspapers report about Gibraltar. Even some mainstream newspapers like El Mundo and El País sometimes need to be reminded of the facts empirically to see what they report pulled back into what is rational and reasonable and true, and away from the particular theories Señor Margallo may have had about Gibraltar. And you can't underestimate the importance of a ministry as important as the foreign ministry pulling newspapers to its point of view, constantly briefing editors, and of course the control of the budget of advertising of the Kingdom of Spain, which is exercised in a way to try and persuade editors to report in one way or another. Gibraltar is rowing against all of that, and I think we're doing a very good job indeed of putting the Gibraltar point of view through Info Gibraltar in Spain, through taking action where necessary in Spain in order to demonstrate that we will not tolerate sloppy journalism. And I'll tell you something which you might find favorable and unexpected from a politician. I think Gibraltar underestimates the value of its journalists and the way that you independently report factually on things, whether it is good for the government or good for the opposition. It's about what Spain says about Gibraltar, what Gibraltar says about Spain. You report it down the line. That's not the reporting we're seeing about Gibraltar in Spain. We're seeing highly prejudiced, opinionated pieces designed to prejudice people against Gibraltar. Less so now, perhaps, than in the past 5 years since Señor Margallo has gone, but it was absolutely right that we take on that prejudice reporting and we put it right.